Had a good time, learned a few things. Went to Alabama Business School, graduated from the law school there. I was a judge here for 30 years. And for the last 7 years, I've been the city's historian, the director of historic resources and events for the city. What I am going to do, I'm going to cut my part short. I'm going to tell you about 10,000 years of Decatur's history, and I'm going to do it in about 5 or 6 minutes. And then we're going to bring on the star of the show. Okay? We are very lucky this morning. Didn't know for sure if this very special guest was going to be.
At this time, session 2 begins now. Session 2 begins now.
We have a 102-year-old Etta Freeman with us this morning. Ms. Freeman is a very good friend of mine, one of my heroes, just to be honest. She's an amazing, amazing lady. Not only is she 102 years old, thus has experienced a lot of things, she taught school for 57 years. That's 4 times as long as most of you have been alive. She taught school. And just an amazing, amazing lady. So we want to save a lot of time for her to talk with you. Didn't know if Ms. Freeman would be able to come today. She's one of the most remarkable people I've ever met in my life. She's up here reading things at 102 years old. When y'all get to be in your 30s and 40s, you're going to see what my hell was there, man.
I'm just
Is
my head in.
Is this fantastic?
This is awesome.
She's just an awesome. She told me the other day, said I might be scared and I don't know if they'd be interested in what I had to say. Well, you were wrong both times. And I don't say that very often about you.
All right, Judge, look at me. 1, 2, 3. That's awesome. Y'all enjoy. These are a lot of my kids too. So awesome. Y'all listen.
She's 102 years, and Mr. Stan Carr is almost 102 years old. He's standing out in the hall there. He and I went to school together. So trust me, he's old. I'm 66. You know, this lady, tell you what she's gently saying to me, you told my age 4 or 5 times, now what's your age, Mama?
Just a baby.
Yeah, just a baby. You know, this is funny. She plays cards. And this is a good lesson for us to learn in history.
Just keep moving.
She keeps her mind active. She drives. Yes, she drives to church, from her house to church, and from her house to the Turner's Thrill Center to eat lunch and to play with friends and every afternoon, play cards. But one of the partners she had in the card game, she taught. You taught all of them. Well, now they're all at the senior center, and she's taught them all. That is fun. Let me give you about 5 minutes, just so you'll know what a special place you lived in. This place had a Paleo Indian site 10,000 years ago. The Paleo Indians were so ancient that none of the current tribes can trace their DNA to these folks. 10,000 years ago, we had people living in Decatur. We had Cherokee people, Chickasaw people, Creek people, all those Native American, also called American Indian tribes, lived in this area. Cherokee Trail of Tears, 2,300 of the Cherokee, when they were being forcibly removed to the American West, came through Decatur on their way out to the west. There's a National Park Service trailhead. If you like that kind of history, go to Rhodes Ferry Park. You'll see a National Park Service history of the Cherokee people from here. Banking, the Old State Bank is the oldest bank building in Alabama. Railroads, we still have a lot of railroads in Decatur. Our depot is a museum. It was built in 1905, so it's 114 years old this year. We had the first railroad in the American West in Decatur. Civil War times, the whole town was destroyed during the Civil War because of all the fighting that occurred here. That resulted in having to rebuild the town, so we have the largest number of Victorian-style houses and Craftsman-style houses. We have about 800 houses in this town on the National Register of Historic Places. How many of y'all live in a house that's at least 100 years old? Anybody? Anybody live in a very old house? Okay. Civil rights history, the Scottsboro Boys trial. We talked about that just a little bit in the first session. That was not a happy time in this city. There were 9 African-American young men, one of them 13 years old, who were wrongfully found guilty of harming 2 white women. That's a stain on our past, but it's something, we need to talk about that. We need to talk about it often. It's not pleasant to talk about, but it's something we need to talk about because why do we study history? So we won't do the same mess ups that we did in the past. So we won't make the same mistakes again. Early aviation history, Pryor Field, our little airport, that was where they trained pilots. A lot of pilots in World War II were trained out there. Parks, Delano Park, which is right over here, right across the street from the high school. That park was built in 1887. That park is about over 130 years old. So that park, that band used to, when I was at Decatur High School, the band practiced over there. They didn't have their own practice fields. They practiced at Delano Park. Sports, how many football players you got here? Anybody? Any football? The only man, I think this is still true, the only man to be a football All-American at two separate major universities was a gentleman named Don Whitmire. He was an All-American at Alabama, and when World War II broke out, he went to the Naval Academy and played football there. So he was an All-American at two separate universities. He is the great uncle of one of your teachers, Amanda Whitmire, is his great niece. Fine arts, the Princess Theater is 100 years old this year as a fine arts theater. It's in a building that started out live. Does anyone know what the Princess Theater was first used for? Anybody?
Was it a cinema, I think? I don't remember.
Wait,
no, it was a horse stable.
It was a horse barn. You're exactly right. 1887, it was built as a horse barn, a livery stable. You're exactly right. So, well, you're about the first that's ever guessed that. Oh, wow. Pretty cool. But it's been a fine arts theater for 100 years. So we've had all these great pieces of history here, religious history. Does anyone go to go to either King's Memorial United Methodist Church? Anyone go to King's Memorial? Does anyone go to First United Methodist Church? First Methodist and King's Memorial share the same history. Those people worship together for many. African Americans and whites worship together for many years. And then the two churches split. King's Memorial is a primarily African American church, and First United Methodist primarily a white church. There are some members that kind of cross over. Dr. Wilhelm Ragland, if you know him, is actually a member of both of those churches. He was a pastor at King's Memorial for 33 years, and he attends First Methodist too. There was a very famous, the very first, either the first or the second African American architect in America designed the first missionary Baptist church. I think, don't you go to First Baptist where Miss Freeman goes to church? Her church was designed by what we believe was the first African American full architect in America. His most famous church was the 16th Street Baptist Church. You don't have a frame of reference for this. I do. When I was your age, that church was bombed during the Civil Rights era when black people were trying to achieve equal rights. There were some white people that were okay with that. There were some that were not okay with that. And one that was definitely not okay with that bombed a church in Birmingham, 16th Street Baptist Church. 4 little black young ladies, they were like 8, 9 years old, were killed by that blast. That changed an entire nation's thinking of civil rights. Immediately, a lot of people that had said, I'm not for integrating the races. I know a lot of people that said, but I'm not putting up with this. I'm not putting up with bombing people's churches and killing children. So Wallace A. Rayfield, who designed the first missionary Baptist church here in Decatur, also designed 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, a very, very, very famous church even today. Now, I have Miss Etta Freeman here with me, with her daughter-in-law and some of her entourage. She's so important, she brought 4 other people with her. But Miss Freeman is a very special friend of mine, and just one of the most incredible, she's a hero of mine, one of the most incredible people I've ever met in my life. Taught school 57 years. She went to college in the 1930s. Now, I know what you're thinking, well, what's the big deal about that? Well, tell you what the big deal is about that. Most African-American people did not go to college in the 1930s, and to be honest with you, most women did not go to college in the 1930s. They didn't. My dad was a federal judge, a lawyer. In his law class in 1952 at the University of Alabama, we're talking about an entire law class, 200 members of that class. You know how many women there were in that class? 2. One of them was a lady named Harper Lee. Has anyone ever heard of Harper Lee? You've not heard of her as a lawyer. You've heard of her as?
The writer of To Kill a Mockingbird.
She was the author of To Kill a Mockingbird. One of the most famous books of all time. Was in my dad's law class. But it was just an unusual thing for African Americans to be in college in the 1930s, 80 years ago. It was an unusual thing for women of any race to be in college at that point. By the way, there are more women at the University of Alabama School of Law today than there are men. Now, that's how things have changed in 8 years. But this is a remarkable lady, way, way, way ahead of her time. And I'm going to let her just kind of tell you a little bit about herself. I have to listen very closely. Thank you for being so attentive to me, but listen closely. She's 102, so she's saving her energy for a whole lot of things besides just talking, okay? But Miss Freeman is just a special friend of mine. She was an election supervisor when she was 99 years old. Now, I know that because she was the first person I would see when I would go to vote. She was at my precinct, and I would always go there, and she'd always laugh, and she'd say, "I'm still here." Well, when you're near 100, that's a pretty good, what you go for tomorrow, to be here. But she's just a delightful lady, and I want her to just tell you a little bit about herself, like what it was like to live 102 years ago. Go right ahead.
Good morning. I am Etta Freeman. I was a 1937 graduate of Decatur Negro High School. C.J. Hershey was my principal, and Mr. W.W. Benson was the superintendent at that time. Upon graduation, I enrolled at Alabama State College with the financial assistance from my brother, and was certified to be an elementary school teacher after 2 years at college. A few years later, I completed the requirements for a BS degree in elementary education at Alabama A&M College. The first teaching position was a class of 67 students.
Did y'all hear that? Her first class had how many again, Ms. Freeman?
67 boys.
67 students. What class?
During the time I married Charles Henry Freeman, they became pregnant. And my son, Charles Richard Freeman, is now deceased. This is his wife right here, my daughter-in-law, all I have. My husband, he became the first black postman in Decatur. But it didn't last long. He was mixed up there. He got a little mixed up.
Her former husband was the first African-American postman.
Yeah,
Okay.
it lasted about 3 or 4 years, and he became involved with the opposite race.
That's the.
And aspired. And
What y'all look at
after
this, she's still
becoming 6
reading out
months
the
pregnant, I resigned the job in Moulton and came home to Decatur. At the stage of pregnancy, a bus driver, I would ride the bus to and fro on weekend. The bus driver asked me to give up my seat. I was on the back seat. He asked me to give up my seat for a white person, and I refused.
Now, when was that? Do you know?
Huh?
Do you know when that was? What year that was?
That was
That's exactly what I'm asking.
43.
1943. How many of y'all
And I
heard
was
of?
pregnant with my baby.
Oh my! How many of y'all have ever heard of Rosa Parks?
Yeah.
Oh, you all have. She refused to give up her seat in what, 1955, I believe it was, maybe, along there. She refused to give up her seat in 1943, 12 years before Rosa Parks. She was pregnant and, needed to sit down and just didn't give up her seat. Hooray for you. Wow.
I didn't give up no seat, let's see where
I didn't know that about you. That's
It
amazing.
did happen.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I was always told, huh?
Go
I
back
was
bus.
also told to go to the back of,
Back of the bus.
no, I went to vote.
Oh.
And voting line, I was racing, the man that was, he refused, he told me he usually blacks go to the back of the line. I told him I would mix the line, so I refused there. Then go back to the back. And when he finally raced me to vote, I became a voter from then on. That was in, 45.
And there were very few African-American people that were allowed to register to vote.
Yeah, during that time.
Knowing this lady, she wasn't gonna take no for an answer.
Last year, he finally raised to fill out the application. It says, lay out applied for a teacher's position at Cheers Preschool. And was, even though my son was less than a year old.
What about the kids actually older than you?
The requirements in that the baby was supposed to be at least a year old, but the super, after talking with him, my grandmother lived across the street from the school, and so he gave me the job.
Let me explain it a little bit. Let me explain. My mother was a school teacher too. When you became pregnant, in fact, the word pregnant was considered to be a dirty word.
Yeah.
We did, nice people didn't use the word pregnant. We were great with child or expecting a blessing. So the word pregnant, when I was your age, boy, nobody talked about that. When my mom became pregnant with my younger sister, she had to quit when she started showing. She's been teaching school for years. Miss Freeman had to do the same thing when she started showing. She had to quit at that point. It wasn't considered to be proper for guys. This is a reason we need to study history. I can see a lot of y'all don't like what I'm hearing, and I'm glad you don't like what I'm hearing, because we don't ever need to go back to days like that. Okay, but that's the reason we study history, so we can understand what pioneers like this with. Your child had to be a certain age before they would let you come back. You needed to be in the home with your child. You're tired of Cherry Street?
I was tired of Cheers Street. Y'all been in school after 27 years of teaching there. And, no discipline problem from either school.
And why was that? Did you use the Board of Education on this?
Oh, yeah. I had a 12-inch rule that I gave them, the love taps, when you do what you're supposed to do. The love taps, I see a lot of my students dying, so I gave them, they love me for me.
One was laughing about that the other day,
My
yeah.
first grader's right back there.
One of them was laughing about a love tap she got the other.
Oh,
Miss Freeman taught most of these ladies back in the back.
In the back, they were my first grader.
By the way, lest you think that she was mean, what we call corporal punishment, spankings, that was very common when I was in school, all the way through school. But she's a very sweet lady. A lot of her kids did not have shoes, they were very poor. She'd go buy shoes and give them to them. She made clothes, she's a seamstress and made clothes for her kids so they could dress nice. I mean, what kind of teacher does that? I mean, that is just really good. Did you
Oh, I
substitute?
never got, I substitute for 20 years.
Wait a minute, she taught for 57, then substituted for another 20?
37.
Oh, you taught 37 and substituted. Okay, so 57 years old.
I worked at Walmart as a greeter for 5
That's gonna be my next job, probably.
Last time I chosen to be a taxi driver for, and visiting the sick in the hospitals and the nursing home, for families and friends. And, one lady that had one daughter that lived in New York, and so I would do all her chores, writing the checks and carrying to the doctor, getting groceries, I would get five, she would give me $5 a month
Oh, wow,
for my,
to take care of
take
somebody.
care of her. $5, she got write you a check.
How much did you get paid as a teacher? Do you remember?
How much did teachers make?
$50.
You make $50 a month?
$50 a month.
50 bucks a month is what you made teachers.
During the time I was married, we tried to get a loan to build a home, and it was a problem. But finally, we were able to borrow $4,000 to build this home.
You built a house for $4,000.
But anyway, we borrowed $4,000. And after 2 years, we divorced. My husband left me. And we had it for 20 years. But I able to pay it off in 15 years. And my payments were $35 a month.
Her house payment was $35 a month. Do you remember what your first car cost? Do you remember what your first automobile cost? Do you remember kind of what cars sold for back? What did a new car sell for back in the
I
30s?
bought a new one then, but I can't remember.
A few $100 for a new car. You know, we've got about 3 minutes. Oh, yeah. Oh, these pictures are fantastic. You all have ever heard of Dr. George Washington Carver? Dr. Carver's probably the greatest agricultural scientist of all time. Discovered all kinds of things that can be done with a peanut. I'm gonna let Miss Freeman tell you about her time she met Dr. George Washington Carver.
He was a speaker for 1935. Graduate class.
Yeah, in that class was her aunt, who's like 4 years older than Miss Freeman. So he was invited to her aunt's class. He was a speaker in 1935, George Washington Carver.
The old Decatur Negro High School here in Decatur.
Let's see, here's
That's right.
And there's her commencement in 1937.
There's,
the Negro High School. And
Look how long this program was, guys. Whoa, she said it was a week's worth of
This is a
different
week's worth
activities.
of activities for the senior class at that time, but they did a lot of things, they were really involved. This is her class, 1947.
41.
Oh, okay, 41?
Yes, sir.
47, yeah. So she's the teacher, and her son, was he in the
4 years,
class?
no, he wasn't.
Oh, he was just 4 years old, he was. But this is, and it's amazing to see how they were dressed then, just looking at her old pictures. It's, you know, so good to be able to share that. This is her, 1946, 1947, this is a picture of her.
She's pretty good looking. Hey, she still is, don't y'all?
And lastly, she has a park named for her, so you have a chance to go visit it. Sometimes it's the Etta Freeman Park by the Turner Searle Center over by the old train station.
Yep.
And it's a beautiful park, so just feel free to go and enjoy.
Beautiful heart for a beautiful lady.
Yeah.
We've got about 2 minutes. Does anyone want, how many of y'all have never had a chance to listen to a 102-year-old person? I've had very few chances in my lifetime to do that. I'm gonna share one thing. A lady became 100 years old. I went to her birthday party and I said, Ms. Klein, I want to know your secret to living to be 100 years old. And Ms. Freeman said almost the same thing in the first period this morning. I said, what's your...
Attention please, teachers and students. Please transition to our second phase of the day. Sophomores, go to the cafeteria. Seniors, go to the auditorium. Freshmen, go to the auxiliary gym. And juniors, go to the arena. Again, sophomores to the cafeteria.